spending a lot of time recently expanding brackets, so that's been doing the clause. Okay, now what I'm going to introduce you to today is the opposite process called factorizing. Now, I must admit, in second form, it does seem kind of pointless. All right, it's only when we get a bit higher up that you can start seeing it in context and see what a useful tool it is. But for now, please just trust me that it's something useful that we will be using later on, and just try and learn the skill. So factorizing expressions. So factorizing is putting the brackets back in. Putting the brackets in. Putting the brackets in. Whereas expanding that we've done last week was getting rid of the brackets. Okay, not too much of a delay, that's all right. So let me just remind you what we were doing last week. We could have had a question like 2 lots of 3x plus 2. And our job was to expand, so we were getting rid of the brackets. So we did clause number 1, 2 times 3x, which was 6x. And then clause number 2, 2 times plus 2, which was plus 4. Okay, and that was our work was being done. So that was going left to right. That was expanding. And now we've got to learn a process to go the other way. We need to be able to go from the 6x plus 4 to the left, and this process is factorizing. So they are opposite processes. So let's imagine we were starting with the 6x plus 4, and we need to put the brackets in. So you start off by trying to figure out what's the highest common factor of the 6x and the 4. What's the biggest number that goes into 6x and 4? Well, the biggest number that goes into 6 and 4, the highest common factor is 2. So the 2 comes outside the bracket. And you then say to yourself, so you do kind of put the clause in, but you're working backwards. You're saying to yourself, 2 times what will give you the 6x? 2 times what will give you 6x? Well, we need a 3, because 2 times 3 is 6, and then we need the x to be 6x. So that's the first term inside the bracket. And then we'd say to ourselves, right, 2 times what? Do you know what? I'm going to do that in green. 2 times what is going to give us the plus 4? 2 times what gives us the plus 4? So that's going to be 2 times plus 2 gives us plus 4. So we are back to where we started. Okay, so expanding is getting rid of the brackets. Factorizing is putting the brackets back in. Now let me just model a few more for you, because you sort of got to get used to this. So we're factorizing these here. What's the biggest number that goes into 3x and 6? Oh, sorry, there's quite a lag here, isn't there? I'm just going to wait for you to go through to slide number 2. There we go. I'm just going to let my dog out. She's getting a bit restless. There you go, Elsie. So what's the highest common factor of 3x and 6? What's the biggest number that goes into 3 and 6? It's a 3. So go and open the bracket. 3 times what gives us 3x? Well, we're just missing the x. Get the sign right, it's a plus. And then 3 times what will give us that 6? 3 times 2 will give us the 6. Again, there's quite a lag there. So let me just repeat that now that it's actually finally come through on the screen. So I took the 3 out because 3 was the highest common factor of 3x and 6. I then said to myself, 3 times what gives me 3x? That's an x. And then I said to myself, 3 times what gives me that plus 6? That was the plus 2. Similar with the next one. What's the highest common factor of 5x and 15? What's the highest common factor of 5x and 15? It's 5. So we'll take a 5 outside. Take a 5 outside and open up a bracket. 5 times what gives us 5x? That's 5 times x. And then 5 times what will give us plus 15? That's 5 times plus 3. And with all of these, of course, you can check you got them right because you work backwards. Okay, so with this red one, when it finally comes through, 5 times x does indeed give me 5x, and 5 times plus 3 does indeed give me 15. I'm going to leave number 3. Let's go and do number 4. So what's the highest common factor of 6 and 9? Well, it's 3. So we can take a 3 outside the bracket. Okay, again, I'm just going to pause now and just wait for this to come through. So 3 was the highest common factor of 6x and the minus 9. There's a big delay today, I'm afraid, but I don't really want to carry on until you can see the 3. There we go. So 3 times what will give us 6x? Well, 3 times 2 will give us the 6, but we want 6x, so we have an x there as well. And then just double check. Does 3 times 2x give us 6x? Yes, it does. So now I'm considering the second clause. 3 times what will give me minus 9? Well, I need a minus sign there because I've got to end up with the minus. And 3 times what gives me minus 9 is 3 times minus 3. It's going to be minus 9. Right. So what I'm going to do now, I've got some more examples here. I'm going to try and do these quite quickly, bearing in mind we've got a lag. So just see if you can, in your head, if you can beat me to it. What's going to be the highest common factor of 8x and the minus 12? What's the biggest number we can take out that goes into both terms? It's a 4. Open bracket. 4 times 2x is 8x. Get the sign right. And 4 times 3 is the 12. Number 2. What's the biggest number, or number 6, I should say. What's the highest common factor of 10 and 15? It is 5. 5 times what gives me 10x? That's 2x. 5 times what gives me minus 15? Well, that's going to be minus 3. Because 5 times minus 3 is minus 15. The next question, number 7. What is the highest common factor of 15 and 20? What's the biggest number that goes into 15 and 20? That is 5. 5 times what gives me the 15x? 5 times what gives me 15x? Well, I need a 3 there because 5 3s are 15, so it will be 3x. And get the sign right, it's a positive. And then 5 times what gives me 20? 5 times 4 gives me 20. So it's going to be a 4. Now, the last one's interesting. Have a think. What's the highest common factor I can take out of those two terms? Well, just think what each of them means. 5 times x squared means 5 times x times x. And then secondly, we've got an x. So what's the biggest amount of stuff that's in both of those lists? Well, I can take out a factor of x. I can take out an x. I can't take out a number this time, but I can take out an x. And x is common to both lists. I've got an x there, and I've got an x there. So I can take out an x on this occasion. So I've taken out an x. X times what gives me 5x squared? Remember, I'm trying to get 5x squared. Well, I need a 5 I need a 5, but as things stand, that just gives me 5x, but I don't want 5x. I want 5x squared. I want 5 times x times x. So I need another x. So just check, does that look like it works? Is x times 5 times x 5x squared? Yes, it is. Right, now moving on. Now this is surprisingly difficult and easy to get wrong. This second clause, I've got an x there already outside the bracket, and I need to end up with a plus x. So x times what, I'm just drawing this at the top, gives me x. What must I be putting in as my second term in the bracket? Well, I need to have a 1 in there, okay? X times 1 is x. So that has to be 5x plus 1, not 5x plus 0 or 5x plus x or something. Okay, so good luck with the worksheet. These aren't easy. They might need quite a bit of practice. It would be great if some of you are brave enough once I've stopped recording to put your cameras on, just from the point of view of it being a bit lonely at my end. Okay, you don't have to, but I'd appreciate it, those of you who do. Let me just stop the recording. Stop recording.